Thank you for joining us for this North Metro TV Local Decision Candidate Debate. I'm your moderator, Ben Hale. Here with me today are the candidates running for Blaine Mayor. I have current City Council member Jason King and incumbent Mayor Tom Ryan. Thank you both for being here. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to start today with opening statements from each candidate. After that, we'll go into a question and answer segment. After the candidates are finished with the questions that I have for them, they'll have an opportunity, if they choose, to ask their opponent a question. Then we'll finish with closing statements. So first up with their opening statement, Jason King, you are first with your 1-minute opening statement.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. My name's Jason King. I'm Blaine City Council member, Ward 3, and I'm running to be the next mayor of Blaine, Minnesota. I've been in the low voltage construction industry for nearly 20 years in senior executive roles, and I have extensive experience negotiating large multi-million-dollar contracts. Been married to my wife Stacy for nearly 20 years. We have 2 little boys, Asher and Anson, ages 11 and 8, who attend Da Vinci Academy here in Blaine. And I've been very active in the community. I've coached Blaine area Little League Baseball for the past 6 seasons, Blaine Soccer for 5 years. I'm also a basketball coach at Da Vinci Academy. We live in the Crescent Pond subdivision near Blaine High School, and we attend Eagle Brook Church. If elected, I promise to listen, to respond, to work hard, and to be an advocate for your families. I believe it's time for fresh leadership in Blaine, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 8th.
Thank you for your opening statement. Tom Ryan, you're next up with your opening statement.
All right. My name is Tom Ryan. I'm the mayor of the city of Blaine. I served 1 year on the Planning Commission and 10 years in the City Council and 20 years now this year as mayor. I'm married to my wife Diane. Our 50th anniversary is next April, so we've been a long time. I have 12 grandchildren, 4 daughters, 12 grandchildren, and 1.5 great grandchildren. So we have 1 on the way, and it's been a privilege to serve Blaine for as many years as I had. I work every day. I work all the time. I just left City Hall. I work there every Tuesday from 2 till 5:30. I'm the only mayor that's ever done that, and I enjoy it. 90% of it is positive. I've enjoyed the job. I've done community things. I've done my 27th Eagle Scout ceremony last Sunday. I have another one coming up, and I've enjoyed every part of it.
Thank you. Thank you both for your opening statements. We're going to move in now to our question and answer segment. You'll have 90 seconds to answer the question. Then after each of you have answered, I'll offer 15 seconds rebuttal time to both of you if you choose to use it. Our first question today, Tom, you'll be first on this question, talking about development. Knowing that you cannot always pick and choose the development that comes your way, Blaine residents have been asking for an upscale grocery store option for many years. What can you do as a member of the City Council to make that a reality?
Well, people started off looking for Byerly's and Kowalski's, and now it's kind of the Hy-Vee part of it. Hy-Vee was here last week. They're looking at property, and it's a point where if you don't buy pretty soon, each one wants 10 acres, you're not going to get it. Our land is selling very fast. We have a lot of them around 6 to 7 acres, and that's one of the number one things we hear about, is that they want an upscale grocery store. Those things kind of change as time changes. This last week we had 6 inches of rain. Priorities, things change, and it's every day something different. But it is a big deal for Blaine, and hopefully that we get it soon. I think I would expect it. We'd had it before Columbia Heights, but I can't change that. I hunt with the people from Byerly's, and I still can't get them. So they talk a lot, but they haven't done anything yet. So.
Thank you for your answer.
Okay.
Jason, same question to you now. Knowing that you can't always pick and choose the development that comes your way, Blaine residents have been asking for an upscale grocery store option for some time. What can you do as a member of the City Council to make that a reality?
Sure, that's a question that I get very commonly, both from neighbors and residents while door knocking. It's one of the most common themes that we have in Blaine. I think we've done a very good job in hiring a very strong economic development director in Eric Thorvig. He really knows his stuff. He's doing a very good job in recruiting out there. One of the biggest things we can do in order to recruit them is to get the homes in as quickly as we possibly can in some of the undeveloped areas. There are some large tracts of lands that are available that are zoned and ready for that, but they're waiting on some of those homes to be built. And so the faster we can get those in, the faster some of that development's going to come. But I believe that Blaine is ready, and the other portion of that too is some of those are requesting potentially a liquor license, so it has to go with some of the zoning that goes along with liquor licenses, whether or not we can attain that. But I'm hoping that we can very soon, because everyone in my neighborhood is asking for it for sure.
Thank you both for your answers. You always have an opportunity to have rebuttal time. It's your choice if you choose to use it. Tom, you'll be first with 15 more seconds.
I'd just like to make a statement also about the liquor part of it. The liquor is we had a license available, and of course all liquor business has a great fear of Total Wine in the city. In every city is that same way, but that's the big issue. We had one license, and we'll probably have another one, but we'll see.
If you want any extra time, Jason, you would have it now. Too.
Yeah, of course. I think, we do have some flexibility on some of the liquor licenses, but I think the current regulations that we have are strong, and I'd like to keep them the way they are.
Thank you both. Next question, talking about public safety, talking about Blaine specifically and also the region. It's clear both nationally and locally that tension is high between segments of the law enforcement community and minority communities. And with a growing diversity here in Blaine, how will you work to create an environment in your city to address these issues? Jason, you are first on this question.
Sure. I think one of the best things we can do is something that we're already doing, and that's Night to Unite. I think that's a fantastic opportunity for elected officials, officers, public works people to get in front of all of our community. I know in my neighborhood we have people from all ethnic backgrounds just on my street, and the Night to Unite is a great opportunity for people that maybe you don't necessarily hang out with all the time, but it's a chance for everyone to get together to kind of break bread, so to speak. The officers do a fantastic job of getting in with the kids, helping them understand that they're not the enemy, they're there to help them, that if there's ever an emergency, they're there for them. They do a great job with community education. But it also comes back to we've had a difficult time recruiting officers because of some of the things that have happened. And I'm hoping that some of these tensions do come down so that we can able to help recruit people that want to be police officers and come in and can help our community.
Thank you for your answer. Tom, same question to you now. When you look, there is high tension between segments of law enforcement community and minority communities, and with growing diversity in Blaine, how will you work to create an environment in your city to talk about and address those issues?
We've never had any tension with our police officers with that issue, at least up to this point. I met with a family last night from Somalia. They're very comfortable here. They love this city. We do World Fest every year to welcome people in here, and I go out of my way to talk to people because sometimes they get isolated in neighborhoods. We don't want that. We want them all the way through the city, and we've never seen that, and we'll follow all the regulations as far as cameras to make sure that there is that diversity. But we've opened the city to World Fest, and it's been awesome with their customs, their food, their dance, whatever. And but we've never had issues with law enforcement here. Not to say that it can't happen.
Opportunity for rebuttal time. Would anyone like to have it?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to talking about the city budget. Tom, you'll be first on this question. Okay. How do you prioritize when it comes to the budget? If you had to cut, where would you look first? If there were extra dollars, where would you look to put those additional resources first? How do you prioritize when it comes to crafting the city budget?
Well, we've, ever since the day I walked in here, we've been in the bottom 2 or 3 cities on the list as far as tax. And, you go through each issue. I've always thought there were times where we should have moved up. We shouldn't be with the cities of Oak Grove and Ham Lake. We're a full service city. We have 68 miles of trails, 65 parks. They have one, not even a grocery store. And that's the way they wanted to operate their community. But for us, you have to look at it each year in a different way. In the sequence that you look at that part of it during that time. And there's times where I would have liked to have seen us, when I started here, we had to do 4 officers at a time because the growth was so fast. And now we're doing the public safety group with the new officers, and that's what we should have done years ago. But we couldn't get the budget, we couldn't get it budgeted, and but we've done what we can to do it. Each year it's a different priority. I never really liked the idea of using unrestricted reserve. I think it's a shell game. I think Anoka County's used it, and I think it's failed. Where you bring money in a certain point, you use a fund that's wasn't intended for that, and we've done that pretty much for the last 4 or 5 years. If you're going to do an improvement or spend money, then be open with your people and raise the taxes. But I've always thought that we should be somewhere closer, maybe halfway to Plymouth, instead of sitting with Oak Grove.
Thank you for your answer. Same question now to you, Jason. How do you prioritize when it comes to the city budget? If you had to cut, where would you look first? If there were additional resources, where would you look to direct those funds?
Sure. Thanks. I think it's a matter sometimes of needs and wants. There are certain things that a city is required to provide, police, fire, roads, water, things like that are necessary services, and I'm glad that we have those, and those are areas that I'm more than happy to spend money. Whenever the chief requests, police chief, fire chief, whenever they're requesting budget, more than happy to step in and help. There are other areas of the city that by charter we're not required to provide. And in those areas, that's where I would look to potentially cut, like we did this year with the IT department. There's other areas that we've looked at and can continue going forward, potentially outsource, such as mowing, things like that. So there are areas that we can potentially cut. And when it comes to spend, I do believe we should keep the spend as low as possible. I'm glad that we do have a very low tax rate, and I would like to continue to keep that tax rate flat or even reduce it. I believe that there is some fat in the budget from time to time that can be cut. You just got to put pressure on staff sometimes to make those tough decisions when necessary.
Opportunity for rebuttal time, anyone?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the outsourcing. I think Blaine has talked about this for several years, and I think it's the biggest way to bring dissension in your people. It's out there. Anoka County's got the same problem right now with their workforce, that people don't want to work there anymore. They don't feel welcome. They don't feel comfortable even talking about it. And I don't agree with that, with the outsourcing at all.
Opportunity to comment
Yeah,
as well.
thank you. And dissension within staff is really not my concern. My concern is with the taxpayers and to keep taxes low. And I agree with a lot of things that Anoka County has done to keep their tax rate low. I think they've done a fantastic job.
Thank you both for your answers. We'll move on to the next question here. Let's talk about jobs in the city. Jason, you'll be first on this question. Infinite Campus. They are completing a large expansion that will bring many high-paying jobs into the community. How can Blaine attract more businesses like Infinite Campus and the high-paying jobs that they provide? Jason?
Well, I think the first thing we can do is move quickly. We're going to have some competition coming up very fast with the Arden Hills expansion. So that I-35W corridor is going to have a lot of competition on it. And so the faster we can get those areas marketed, the better we can get those spots sold and get right development in. I want to make sure that we have sound development and sound jobs coming in. I think retail just kind of shifts. It's a shell game of jobs sometimes. Like to see more of the light industrial, more of the technical jobs like Streamworks that's just getting ready to come in. I think those are a fantastic example of what we'd like to see. Veda is expanding, which is great. There's a lot of people live in Blaine that also work there, so those are the types of jobs that I'd love to see. But I think we need to step on the gas and make sure that happens very quickly before we get outpaced by Arden Hills.
Thank you for your answer. Tom, same question now to you. Infinite Campus, they're completing a large expansion that will bring many high-paying jobs into the Blaine community. How can Blaine attract more businesses like Infinite Campus and the high-paying jobs that they provide?
We made a mistake by letting the Economic Development Department sit empty for 3 years, almost 4 years. The money that came out of the purchase of Village Shopping Center, when that money was used up, we didn't even have enough money for the person's salary anymore. It should have been levied, like we levied before, a little at a time each year, so that department didn't go close. If you don't have anybody to contact, you don't have that success. And Infinite Campus, I've talked to him so many times that you go back at some of the things that we worked on. One was the Viking Stadium. None of those businesses would have come here if that would have happened. So we made the right decision to stop it. And he's one of them that said right now, I would have never built here. And there's a lot of success stories. Streamworks, we just came into that center down there. There's a lot of good land left. I just met, before I came here, with another guy. He's 71 years old, wants to sell. But you have to have access and a way to get into the site to look at it. And I think we need to do a better job of that. People get old and they don't want to pay taxes anymore. So he pays about $12,000 a year, has no future if he keeps it up.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time. Does anyone? Yes, Jason.
Just one thing I would like to add is I think it's very important that we keep our eye also on redevelopment for some of those jobs, not just new development, bringing new jobs into some of the new areas, but redeveloping some of our areas that have gone stagnant.
Tom?
No.
Okay. Move on to the next question. Tom, you'll be first on this question. The death of Danny Aguilar in May rekindled the debate in Blaine about the safety of neighborhood streets. What can be done to make streets safe in Blaine for residents and keep them accessible and efficient for drivers? Tom, you're first.
The accident that happened was a real tragedy here, and I don't know what happened. I remember the day the man came in with the petition. The petition got lost. We've dug through our engineering files. It was not there. I don't think we could put stop signs to regulate traffic. 80% of the people around there know that it was not the road that caused it, that it was a drunk driver. The stop signs that are put up are slowing people down. But if you look at the other end now where we put the speed indicators, they're not working. One's not on at all. The other one's flashing 20 when you're doing 30. So we got to fix that. There isn't enough sunlight. There's solar. So we have to repair that. But I think most of the people in that area know that liquor was the big violate or the big problem that caused that accident. And I think it has slowed people down, but now people are peeling off on the side streets going down Cloud Drive, and they're not using the road because they don't want to stop every 200 feet. If it helped those people, it was well worth it. But they don't talk to me anymore, and they blame me for it. I had nothing to do with it. I dug into it. I got the engineering facts, police reports, but for 2 years, they never spoke to me. They spoke to their district council members. Not a word to me. I could have helped them.
Thank you. Jason, I'm going to come to you with the same question now. The death of Danny Aguilar may rekindle the debate in Blaine about the safety of neighborhood streets. What can be done to make streets safe in Blaine for residents and keep them accessible and efficient for drivers?
Yeah, thank you. That particular instance was tragic, and I hope something like that never happens again in Blaine. From what has been explained to me from residents, it wasn't just one petition. There had been multiple petitions over the years that just had been ignored by council in general. The engineering reports that have come back that I have seen that the stop signs in that area have helped slow down traffic. But to back up and take a bigger picture, one thing that I proposed this past year is the formation of a traffic commission. And that's something that we've approved to go forward in 2017 post-election for appointments to make these changes within the residential neighborhoods, because everyone knows there's hot spots of speeding, of people blowing through stop signs and yield signs. Many people know where those are, and they've been hot button issues for years, and this is the chance for people to go in and help solve those issues. The other things we've done is we've approved to add 2 more officers of traffic enforcement to help in residential areas to make sure that we're giving out tickets in those areas and they're not pulling officers off of their zones that they can actually patrol and set up in those hot spot areas.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time? Does anyone?
Yeah, I just say that Blaine has got a terrific history as far as working with that. I can only think of 2 right now that we've had neighborhood deaths. One was in a crosswalk, which I never like crosswalks. People are secure, think they're secure, and they're not. And the death on 119th. The rest of them were, many of those were related to alcohol, and that's where the problems are.
Did you want to?
Yeah, thank you. And I believe that we do have some of these other issues, 129th, 121st, Rice Creek Parkway, that if we get some of these issues fixed soon, there will be more deaths. So I hope that we step this up fast.
Thank you both. Let's move on to the next question. Jason, you'll be first on this question, talking about the future of Blaine and the future growth that is coming. Blaine's projected to grow to a city of more than 80,000 people, and it's well on its way. What are important steps for the city council to take in managing the growth that comes your way? Jason, you're first.
Yeah, I think there's a few things we can do. One is make sure that our zoning is done in an intelligent manner, making sure that we just don't become a community of box stores. I think that, the more that we can have that's more community-related, local ownership, I think benefits the community as a whole. I know that we can't pick and choose what comes in, but I think through zoning we can be intelligent about what we do. I think through bringing more jobs in to make this more of a work-life community, I think is fantastic. I think the addition of the Blaine open space and our trail system that's opened up with some of the construction that we've had is great. It helps connect our communities. It helps make people enjoy each other. Some of the parks that we've done, such as Lexington Athletic Complex, a great baseball and lacrosse field complex, I think just makes our community great. And the more of that we can do, I think is fantastic. But I think also opening 65 with new bridges, and I know that's a long-term fix, and it's going to take partners such as the county and the state, potentially even federal, to get that done. But I think that divides Blaine. It kind of makes us an east and a west Blaine, and I think the faster we can get some of those overpasses in, the more we come together as a community.
Same question now for you, Tom. Blaine is projected to grow to a city of more than 80,000 people. And what are important steps for the city council to take in managing that growth?
Well, since I started, I just about doubled the growth since I've been here. We're up almost $5 billion in taxes, tax value in that part. And I think our comprehensive plan is coming up. I've done, I think, 3 or 4 of them since I've been here. And it's something that's important because once you set that guideline and get it approved through Met Council, then you live by it. You can't rezone somebody during a process. The zoning and land use is key. And we're getting down to a point where we don't have those big areas anymore, but there are a lot of places here that we need to really take a serious look at. It's not just necessarily residential, but commercial, and work through it. But Met Council, we have a Met Council member who was with her last night. She does a great job, and they'll work with us as much as we can to get us through the plan, a realistic plan.
Thank you. Opportunity for rebuttal time? Yes.
Well, I understand, what you've done with the community, but, you didn't double it. Private enterprise did that. And, I'm proud that we have private enterprise, but government does not grow a community.
Would you like to respond?
I disagree. Government regulates the community, and that's the philosophy that's out there. Government doesn't belong anywhere. But government regulates it, it plans it, it puts it together, it does the engineering, it does the whole shot, and it welcomes it. And that's through economic development, and that's what we've done.
Thank you both for your answer. We're going to move on. A couple more questions from me. Next question, I think I already heard 65 get brought up here once, but let's talk about it a little bit more in depth. Tom, you'll be first on this question. How would you like to see congestion along Highway 65 addressed in these coming years?
Well, I'm the secretary for the Highway 65 group now. We meet usually every month or every other month in Cambridge, and the last one was canceled. But the issues are not that anymore as far as planning. They didn't have a quorum meeting for almost 2 years. Now we have quorums, we vote, we talk. And some of the smaller cities to the north are more involved. Ham Lake is a member, they're not showing up. But we need to sit and work on it. 109th is the key for Cambridge, for Mora. They want that intersection changed for their commercial business. And the closest we can come right now through Anoka County state figures is 20-some years. But I heard that before. Since I've been here, we built 5 bridges. But you have to have the congressional support to carry a bill, and you have to have the congressional support in this state, or the state support to carry it. You can't just say that I'm not going to fund it, I won't support earmarks. Half the city was built by Jim Obastar, and nobody wants to admit it. We built bridges when he was here, and we can't build anything now when nobody carries a bill.
Thank you for your answer. Jason, same question to you. How would you like to see congestion along Highway 65 addressed in the coming years?
Well, I think this is definitely one area that we agree on. Highway 65 has become a major problem in Blaine. For the people that live on the west side to try to get over to the sports center or to Target, it's a major headache. And people from the other side, they just avoid the west side like the plague, just because they have, unless they're going to Walmart, it's just too hard to get across there. And it slows our schools down. It's a major pedestrian hazard to try to get across that. I can't even imagine kids trying to get across that. It's just too dangerous. So, I think us trying to work with, the county, the state, the Fed is absolutely imperative that we get that done. I agree that 20 years is just too long to wait. I think, we really need to step up efforts as much as we possibly can and do everything we can to get those overpasses done.
We had some agreement there. Anyone need any rebuttal time?
I just said that I 24 years ago, I chaired the 35W corridor. We're 3 years away from that development right now. So 27 years to build a freeway. That's not, generations of engineers have gone through. That's not acceptable.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. Let's talk about the community center next. Let's see, Jason King, you'll be first with this question. Is now the right time for a community center in the city of Blaine? And do you support the referendum that will be on the ballot this fall?
I think the time is right. I think our community has grown to a point that it probably is ready for something like that. The referendum I'm not in love with. Now that we've separated the 2 sites, the senior center and the community center, I would love to have seen that as 2 separate referendum issues, because you force people to potentially vote for something that they may not agree with. We have a lot of families here in town. I personally will be voting for it because I will be using it and my family will be using it. I think there's ways we can do this to potentially lower the costs from what's projected on the referendum by potentially working with partners like the National Sports Center. But as the way the proposal is currently right now, there's a lot fewer multipurpose courts than I would like to see. There's no walking track currently around it. There's a lot of meeting and conference space as a part of the development, which, not a lot of people know this, but the 3rd floor of City Hall is completely vacant. So I think that's kind of a waste of taxpayer money. So I think that this is something that the community needs, But I think we kind of rushed this through a little bit. You know, we've had great community task force, put a lot of work in on this, and I appreciate all they've done. I just don't think we got it quite across the finish line the way I'd like to have seen it.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. Tom Ryan, same question to you now. Is now the right time for a community center in the city of Blaine, and do you support the referendum that'll be on the ballot this fall?
Well, as a mayor, I pretty much have been told and I can't support anything, but I can certainly show what's wrong and what needs to be fixed. And there is a walking track on the new facility. I'm not crazy about the site where it is, and that's why I tried to get it to split off. The seniors were not being heard to split it off so there was more room. I think we're probably a couple of weeks away from the YMCA making a statement, and the numbers were coming in very good. But there is a walking track, and I think the young people need to realize that the time is running out. We still have some property left that we could do it, but it's so costly to build that it would be very expensive. But I think the people deserve a chance to vote, and I think from what I'm hearing from the young families, they would like it.
Rebuttal time, anyone? Yes,
Yeah.
Jason.
And I think moving this forward without having an assigned operating partner was potentially a mistake, because we can't fully show the voters exactly what they'd be paying from an operational perspective.
Do you have anything else
I just
to add?
wanted to say, when the Y makes a statement, they have to make sure that they don't draw from Lino Lakes, Coon Rapids, or from Andover. And that's what they're waiting to see, whether those numbers match. It looks like they're coming in very positive. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna know for sure.
Thank you both for your question, for your answer to my question. Time for last question from me. This is a question that we are asking to every single debate this year. It's the only question that everyone will hear from me, and it deals with unity. Across our country, across America, we're seeing deep divisions, whether it be races, ages, socioeconomic classes, religions, and political parties. How will you work to foster a spirit of unity, both at City Hall and right in your neighborhood? Let's see, Tom, you are first on this question.
I've been an independent voter ever since the day I started here. But yet, in today's politics, you can't stay independent. You get drug in because the city, the mayor portion, the council members have become so partisan that it's unreal. It's gotten so bad that I host most of the local officials meetings for Anoka County. In 5 years, I've seen one council member there twice. That's where all of us get together, we work on issues together, and it does bring unity, but nobody shows. And everybody says, wouldn't you like to introduce your council members? And I said, I would if they ever came. Not one. And it's important.
Thank you for your answer. Same question over to you now, Jason. Across America, we are seeing deep divisions among races, ages, religions, socioeconomic classes, and political parties. How will you work to foster a spirit of unity, both at City Hall and in your own neighborhood?
Sure, I tell you, it's very tough watching the news these days because everything is a fight one way or the other, and I think it's sad because one thing that I've done and what I've continued to do is to listen. We have. What we do at a local level rarely reaches the level that the GOP and the Democrats, fight about on a national level. We're really dealing with streets and gutters and drainage issues in yards, and in order to get those fixed, it just simply takes an ear. You got to go out and meet with people at their home. You got to talk to them about what matters to them. But I think listening is the biggest thing you can possibly do. And then once you've listened, to talk to others on the council to get them to understand your perspective, your point of view, but also to listen to each other. If someone else on council is passionate about something, I really want to listen to what they have to say, and especially potentially if it's not in my ward, what they have to say about that ward, because they might be a little bit closer to it than what I am. So that's the way we get things done locally. And as far as the partisanship, I think it's sad that there's so much of that out there, because really they fight and they show what they've stopped the other party from doing instead of showing what they have done. And so I think we need to show more what we can do.
Thank you both for your answer. Does anyone want any rebuttal?
I just want to say we had a leadership meeting between the two parties 2 weeks ago here. It was one big fight at that meeting. They can't even agree not to agree. It's unbelievable, and I thought that's why people are sitting at home now, lifetime Democrats and Republicans, kind of holding their nose right now, trying to figure out what to do.
Jason, did you want to add anything?
Couldn't agree more. It's just time for us to work and get things done for people.
All right. Well, thank you very much for answering the questions that I posed to you today. Now is your opportunity, if you so choose, to ask your opponent a question. Jason, you have the first opportunity to ask Tom a question.
Sure. Just one question, Mayor Ryan. Part of your platform includes keeping taxes low. You've talked about it here tonight, but yet if you go through the minutes the past 4 years straight, watch the video, you've consistently pushed to increase the tax levy, and that doesn't seem to jive to me.
The reason I proposed to increase the tax levy was to keep the city functioning in the way it was supposed to function. That's why we're doing some of the things today with hiring police officers. They should have been hired a while back. This police officer increase in safety for our neighborhoods was brought up many years ago, and it just kind of died in the way. And this new traffic committee that we're forming, just like a planning or park board commission, will work if it's funded. If it's not funded, it won't work. And after a year, I'd like to take a look and see, we're going to spend $100,000 the first year, most likely. But as far as saving money, I'm with a supermajority vote, stop this year, stop the sewer going to Lever Street, which was $800,000 paid by the taxpayers. It stopped. That road is in now, not paid by the taxpayers. And it would have been another 2 years on out of our public utilities fund, and it wasn't the way it should have been. But it's done now.
Thank you for your answer. You have a chance to respond for just 15 seconds if you choose.
As far as Lever Street, I'm glad that's actually in there because it can help develop those rooftops faster in there. And as those rooftops and developers connect, we will get paid back by that.
Thank you. Tom, you have a chance if you choose now to ask a question of Jason.
I think one of the things that I've wondered in the last couple of months, we had a mandatory liquor violation that was done here not long ago, a liquor store that sold 3 times to minors. And when that vote came up, Mr. King voted against it. Yet the issue on 119th Avenue was caused by a drunk. I'd just like to know why.
Sure. I was not around when that particular ordinance was drafted. There are 3 levels of penalty for that particular ordinance. Both levels 1 and 2 offer the business owner the opportunity to pay a fine as opposed to closing down. The level 3, which by the way, this particular liquor store had been robbed. The woman that was working the store, when someone came in, basically panicked and sold to someone that was a minor. That is no excuse. They should have carded. But to go back to the business owner portion of it, the sentence that comes along with a third offense is 10 days closure, which is essentially a death sentence for that business. I hate to see that for any potential owner, and I would love to have seen that particular ordinance redrafted to where they have the opportunity to pay a fine as to close down for 10 days, which could potentially close a business.
Thank you for your answer. Do you have any response?
We teach people here how to run a liquor store, how to hold your license. One more offense and he would have lost it. Those rules were set up over a long period of time to show liquor stores that you cannot sell to kids. That's the way it is. He knew it and he admitted it. And there has to be consequences the 4th time he loses his license.
Thank you both for your answer to that question. We're going to move now to closing statements to conclude our debate today. Jason, you'll be first with your closing statement.
Perfect. Thank you, Ben, Mayor, those of you at home. Local elections have a lot of consequence and a lot of impact on our day-to-day lives. In some instances, more so than state and federal elections. At a local level, we're responsible for roads, trash, water quality, etc. And you've seen some of the similarities that my opponent and I have, and you've seen some of the stark contrasts. But I believe that Blaine is ready for fresh leadership. If elected, I'm willing to listen, to work for you, to respond, and to advocate for your families. I hope to have your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you for your closing statement. Tom, you're up next with your closing statement.
There's a major difference between me and a council member and a mayor. The mayor has probably 75% more work. I do all the business openings. I do all the events that we do, whether it's Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, sports, whatever it is. It's not the same, and it's for the difference in pay. You work probably 3 times as much. There's rarely a day or a weekend that I'm home. I work, do all the graduation ceremonies. I work with the Muslims when they are here, as far as they're working together to get better relations here. And I'm proud of that. And I work every Thursday, nobody's ever done that, to listen to people that have issues with me. And it's been awesome, 99% positive stuff. People that are moving here from around the state or out of the state that want to move to Blaine. And I'm proud of that. And I've never cheated anybody, I've never cheated, and I work hard, and I think people respect me for it.
Thank you for your closing statement. I want to thank you both for coming in today and spending some time with us. We do appreciate that.
Thanks to you.
Thank you.
I want to remind you that you can always head to northmetrotv.com for our complete local decision coverage. There's candidate biographies on there, as well as links to more debates like this. You can watch them all there on northmetrotv.com if you aren't catching them on the channel right now. And I want to thank the candidates, Councilmember Jason King, Mayor Tom Ryan. Thank you both for being here. This has been the debate for the Blaine mayor seat, and I've been your moderator, Ben Hale. Thank you for watching.